So friends, if you're out there and you're listening right now, you're watching the show, would you please go ahead and share this show with your personal page, with your friends, your family, anybody else. If you're watching us on Twitter, which is now known as X, please go ahead and share this broadcast. If you're watching us on Facebook, please definitely share that everywhere you can, because we are being shadow banned on Facebook. If you're watching it on LinkedIn, congratulations, you found us. But you won't be able to share it there. And if you're watching us anywhere else on the internet, please go ahead and share this broadcast. And we'll be starting real soon here.
Read it aloud. Consider that today's lesson.
Wanted, dead or alive.
Jon, Arguello, and Top Lord.
not qualified?
I think she's absolutely qualified. In fact, I think she's misportrayed. I think everybody in this country should take a little bit of time and sit with people, observe them, know them before you draw conclusions. I think she is more competent and able than many people give her credit for. The job of the vice president is not an easy one.
As the name suggests, community banks are in the community. Are so-called leaders, extremists, who are attempting to require in our nation an unnecessary debate with the intention, I believe, to try and divide us as Americans. Stop. Stop.
We're tired of being required to travel over potholes and bridges that are breaking down, and it's expensive when all your tires, when you lose your tires are ended up being flat because of those roads and bridges.
Go ahead and clap. I don't want to step on the applause.
Would she, in your mind, be the heir apparent if for some reason the President of the United States were not to seek the nomination in 2024?
I'm glad you asked the question, and my answer is really simple. Competition. As many people as humanly possible with the talent, the time, the energy, the ethics to enter a primary should do it. We have 12 Republicans as options for Republican primary.
Not only is that a no, but that's a terrible no.
Yeah.
My answer is real simple. Not until pigs fly, not until hell freezes over. Absolutely not. She should not run for president. I think that's very clear. That was a very clear non-endorsement from this guy, whoever he is.
Some Democrat backbencher.
Yeah. Well, welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned with School Board Member John Arguello and my good friend, Citizen Tom Lord. We have a bunch of fun stuff to talk about here. Full show. We got all kinds of stuff from throughout the country, throughout the state. People are losing their minds from coast to coast, and we're going to chat about it. Before we start, let me say a quick little prayer, and then we're going to get right down to business. Lord, as usual, we come here every week and talk to you about how grateful we are to be able to reach American people the way that we do. It doesn't matter if Facebook shadow bans us or not. We come here, we have a good time, we chat, we record, and we tell people what's really going on. And we pray that you continue to provide us with the blessing to be able to do that, and that you help us get better at delivering this show to the people and talk in a way that reaches people and gets people involved and inspired to take part in our great American freedoms. So in your son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
So what a fun couple of weeks it's been, right?
Yeah.
Since the last time we did the show a week ago. A lot has happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what has not changed is people on MSNBC losing their minds.
No.
Let's watch the video.
Nice way of putting it. Let me ask you about Florida. Judge Aileen Cannon just recently filed a response regarding, and the special counsel. Can you explain what she said?
Yeah, well, she granted the prosecutor's request for a hearing to decide whether Walton-Naughton's defense attorney, Stanley Woodward, has conflicts of interest because he represents other witnesses. But she also denied their request to file some information under seal because she said they didn't justify it. And she questioned why they were using a Washington, D.C. grand jury to continue to investigate potential obstruction of justice in the case. It's hard to see exactly where this is going, but it just shows that Judge Cannon is going to make the prosecutors work for every single thing they want to do in this case.
So my next guest has a thought on that. I'll get to it in a moment. Ken Delaney. Ken, thank you.
Well, thank God for that,
So if you watch this whole video, we should probably put this video in the links at the bottom. They lose their minds over the fact that these prosecutors are being questioned on their practices, which under normal circumstances would never fly, right? No. Imagine a grand jury in Washington, D.C. doing an investigation and then providing a court in Florida or Texas or New Hampshire or wherever else the reasons to bring a lawsuit against you in that state. That's called setting up the whole table, right? You get to choose both moves on both pieces. It's absolutely not the way that something is done fair. And I don't think that anybody's under the impression that their intention is to be fair in any way or shape or form.
Not at all. Not at all.
No. You know, but I do love to see them lose their minds, right? I love to see them. I mean, they go into saying that this is all, you know, a setup for Trump, right? Like they go on to, like, they come all these, talk about conspiracy theories. I mean, this is nothing but straight up legal conspiracy theories. Go and check out that video. We're going to have to put the link for you.
No.
Also in the news, as is mentioned in the titles, Mike Pence apparently is not somebody who can be in a foxhole with anybody. This guy is
He's proven that.
He's proven that. He is a weak spine individual. You think he's all hard, right? Like, he gives the impression that he's this stoic, really hard spine guy who's going to stand up and have some integrity. But he really doesn't. At least that's not my impression. Watch him wet his pants on TV here.
They asked for a pause. The president specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes, which would have resulted in the issue being turned over to the House of Representatives.
Pause it right there.
Wait.
Yeah, wait.
They asked for a pause.
Hold on a minute.
Let's hear that again. Hear this again.
Specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes, which would have resulted in the issue being turned over to the House of Representatives.
Do that again. Let's play it again. Play it one more time. Everybody, listen to what he's saying here. Listen. This is key. He goes on to talk a whole bunch of junk, but that statement right there is key. Listen.
They asked for a pause. The president specifically asked me, and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers asked me to literally reject votes, which would have resulted in the issue being turned over to the House of Representatives and literally...
Okay.
Yeah.
The issue would have been turned over to the House of Representatives, right? That is exactly what Trump wanted. There's no hiding. That he's saying that he could not have done that. But obviously, the law, number one, he's saying these crackpot lawyers, they found a loophole, right? The loophole is if you reject these votes, it goes to the House of Representatives. The Republicans had the majority in the House of Representatives at that time.
But wasn't he saying that he couldn't do that?
Yeah, he's saying he couldn't, but he's saying that it would have happened.
He's saying he could.
Yes. So, but the other thing, number two, which is far more important of a point, is that if he had turned it over to the House of Representatives, all of these House of Representatives, here's what would have been the consequence. Number one, they would have gone state by state, right? And they would have voted according to what the people in those states voted. Under the law. That means they would have disregarded all these fake laws that all these Democratic states put in effect prior to the election, which is what caused the election to go the way that they did, right? So people in Pennsylvania, people in some of these Midwestern states, they changed the laws, right, at the expense of Trump at the last minute that were not in accordance with the state statutes in their own states, right? So they were in violation of their own state statutes. Now everybody's gone back and tried to clean it up after the fact. Yeah. But if he would have done that, they would have been well within their right? Chances are Trump would have won the election if it wasn't hammered out this way, right? And Trump would be the president today. Now, they would have gone back, they would have voted the way that the people directed them to vote. That's what would have happened. And the House of Representatives are the people that are closest to the voters, to the actual voters in their respective districts. That would have been okay with me for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? It would have been okay with me for them to have done that. And I think that most Republicans and conservatives, they want you to follow the Constitution. If that's what it says in the Constitution. The problem is that all of these state legislatures, all of these supervisor of elections, all these secretaries of states in Democratic states were breaking the law, and they were not doing what they were supposed to do regarding the elections. So would this have rectified the situation? In my opinion, it would have. Yeah. And it would have been fair, right? Because it shows, that would have been the check and balance. If you mess with the election laws in a state, this is a way to circumvent the fact that you have corrupt people at the state level. And that's why it was probably written to begin with, right? So I had no problem. But anyways, of course, essentially what happened was that Pence doesn't have any. He's asexual, I guess they call it now, right? He's like a Ken doll, non-gender I'm not going to assume Mike Pence's gender anymore. But in my opinion, he was in the foxhole, and he let his buddy. You know what's that? We need to get that scene from I think it's Saving Private Ryan. You know, there's a guy fighting for his life. Yeah. Right, and then there's another soldier who comes in. He looks in there, but then he melts away from the pressure, and he just goes and he hides and he's crying on the stairs. Do you know what scene I'm talking about? Okay, that's Mike Pence, and that's just not the kind of guy that we want leading our country. We want somebody who can step in there and do the right thing when somebody needs it.
That's definitely him.
That's definitely him. Our next story, again, when we talk about the corrupt, look at the result. Right? This guy, Mike Pence, singular Mike Pence, one person, failed to do what he was tasked to do. And then in the end, we have a president who completely ruins the country and the economy in just a matter of years, 2 years. And now, okay, like we've seen it 100 times, it seems like, everything that they've accused Trump of, they do themselves, right? They've already done. And here's another example. Go ahead and put the story up. 440 reporters lose their press passes after the White House changes the requirements. So here's what's going on with this. Essentially, they changed the rules. If you did not resubmit all your documentation, then you lost your press pass to go to the White House. Now, also, there's other rules in the story that mentions that if you do the wrong thing, if they don't like what you're doing, that you lose your press pass. Now, there was a guy, I remember his name was Jim Area, I don't remember what his name was, Jim Harris, I think he was Telemundo or something. I don't remember who he was from. Anyway, some guy with Trump, but he was extremely disrespectful and rude. And if he had these same rules back then, he would have lost his press pass. In fact, I think that they banned him or suspended him from there. And then they took him to court, and then they forced him back into that room. So what's the difference between Trump doing that and that whole situation and this guy? Yeah. You shouldn't be allowed in there to go in there and be a crazy person without losing your press credentials. But when it's Trump, they sue you and they win. When it's the Democrats, there's nothing wrong with it. Nobody complains. So it's just the key. The key to being a Democrat is hypocrisy.
I think part of it too is KJP is tired of all the questions.
I imagine she is tired of all the questions because
she gets hammered.
There's never an answer for any of this stuff,
never
right?
Never an answer.
There's never an answer. So that's kind of a big deal. That you get rid of 440 people from the press floor. Yeah. You don't have to deal with it anymore, I guess.
Absolutely. We'll just keep it people.
Just the friendly people.
Yeah, we're friendly with that we don't have to worry about.
Well, like we said, MSNBC loses their mind on a constant basis. They actually lost their mind and asked Nancy Pelosi a real question, although they framed it in a completely ridiculous, non-journalistic way. Let's watch this video and we'll talk about it.
How do you feel about the push by the House Republicans, many of them? The Speaker has certainly, flirted with this idea of impeachment proceedings against, President Biden because of unfounded allegations that he was involved with his son Hunter's businesses.
Unfounded.
As you well know, as you were very cautious about starting impeachment proceedings for the very reason that once you start in a special committee or the Judiciary Committee, it's very hard to stop that process.
Well, with all due respect to your question, this is frivolous. This is a diversionary tactic.
Yeah. All right. Here's the crazy thing. Number one, as a journalist, you're not supposed to opine on the process. All you do is speak facts, right?
Right.
So to say that these are unfounded accusations, she's already found him not guilty.
Yep.
That's not her job. Yeah. So MSNBC, they're not journalists. We know that, right? But that's not her job. She doesn't even pretend to be a journalist. She's just a pundit. Number two, she's like, you were careful to Nancy Pelosi? You were careful. They impeached Trump twice for things that Democrats were doing. How is that careful?
Yeah.
How is it careful to impeach the guy that doesn't do anything and you completely ignore it? Then you call it frivolous when they catch him? They have evidence. There's more evidence for what they're accusing Biden of, which is being a stooge of the CCP of China, than they ever had on Trump.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? You take all of the evidence that you have on Trump doing anything wrong and combine it, it does not compare at all to the mountain of evidence that they have of Joe Biden selling his soul and our country to the Chinese.
Yeah.
Or to Ukraine for that matter.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It started with Trump with the fake dossier that the Hillary Clinton campaign bought.
That was Democrats.
that guy steal, right? And it really didn't have anything in it, all right? But then you have Hunter Biden's laptop.
They made stuff up. In fact, they even made stuff up about, you remember the whole peeing in the bed on a prostitute?
Yeah.
They made it up. Literally, they made it up. They talked to the guy. The guy literally took poetic license and made it up. I mean, how bad can it possibly be?
Yeah, it's just unbelievable, man. And you see the Hunter Biden laptop, everything that's coming out from that. All these people that are coming forward speaking about their connections, what's going on in Ukraine and China.
His business partner.
Yeah.
I mean, his business partner dimed him out in front of the House of, in front of Congress. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Here's what they have, right? Number one, why would this happen? It's because they're out of control. Yeah. Out of control from top to bottom. And when I say top to bottom, I'm talking about from the dog in the White House to the dog in the White House. They are out of control. Check this story out here. This is crazy.
During the White House cocaine, there's another scandal we need to talk about. The Bidens are terrible dog owners. Joe's German Shepherd, Commander, going on a biting rampage. The big guys, big dog, chowing down on Secret Service agents, biting or attacking them 10 times in 4 months. The untamed beast even sending one to the hospital. The White House blaming it on stress. Yeah.
As you all know, the White House complex can be unique and very stressful. And that is something I'm sure you all can understand.
So under DC municipal rules, after a dog bites an individual, the dog must be quarantined for 10 days. Do you know what Commander was quarantined for?
I would have to refer to USSS.
But as usual with the Biden White House, something's not adding up on Cujo. So I spoke to celebrity dog trainer Tom Davis to find out more.
Bite 1, bite 2, bite 3, etc. It's, I don't know. I think that the dog definitely needs training. The dog definitely needs to be put into a different environment that the dog can't make mistakes in. Because right now, it's clear that the dog is making mistake after mistake after mistake.
I know here in Florida, and at least I believe, John, that if a dog bites somebody, that usually, most times, the dog gets put down.
Yeah, I think it's common that a dog gets put down. Well, here's the worst part about this. Number one, the worst part is that we have people who are serving our country, right, as Secret Service, and they're getting bitten by this stupid dog. Okay, they're literally one had to go to the hospital. Imagine getting stitches because you're supposed to protect the president with your life, and you're getting stitches at the hospital because the stupid dog is biting you.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of anything like that?
No.
Now it gets worse.
Why isn't the dog biting
Commander?
Biden?
Right, because Biden's the one that's abusing that. God only knows how much he sniffs that dog throughout the day. But that dog, okay, is not the first dog that has done this with the Bidens. They had a dog. This is Commander.
Yeah.
They used to have Major. Why don't they have Major anymore? Do you remember?
No.
Because he was biting people.
Oh.
So the dog that they had before was biting people. They got rid of him for biting Secret Service agents. They get this dog, Commander,
He's biting too.
And he's biting people too. Now listen, I don't know about you. I've had a German Shepherd before. They're great dogs, right? Yeah. Are they? If you don't train the dog, what kind of person are you that you're allowing this German Shepherd? That's a big dog. Now I have Rottweilers. Yeah. Right. So I've always had Rottweilers. I've had Rottweilers for the past 20 years. But if I don't let my dog bite people, you know what I'm saying? I don't let my dog bite people. My dog is, she's a pretty scary dog, right? Yeah. If she wants to be, she bites you. It's gonna be pretty bad. But I don't let her bite anyone. My dog's never bitten anyone. Now this guy, every dog he has is gonna be biting the people that are supposed to protect him. 10 bites in 4 months. They said how many months?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had a German Shepherd when I was growing up,
Yeah.
Risha, and she never bit anybody. I mean,
what kind of animals do you have to be raising 2 dogs that are biting people left and right in the workplace on a constant basis, multiple times a week?
What's happening to that dog? That dog feels compelled to bite.
Yes, what's happening to that dog? I'm telling you, Joe Biden is sniffing that dog left and right. The dog is stressed. The dog's like, if this guy sniffs me one more time, I'm gonna bite this guy.
Well, dogs and different animals, cats and stuff, they like to sniff each other's butts, and that's like that's like a way that they communicate or greet each other. Maybe Joe picked up on that, and he thinks that you go smell the dog's butt, and the dog.
I
thinks
guarantee you
that's okay.
that dog will never sniff another butt. He's like, listen, I get it now. I get it. Yeah, I've learned my lesson. Okay, I've learned my lesson. I'm tired of the sniffing already, Joe. Joe, I'm tired of the sniffing. So I mean, it's just it's pretty bad. I mean, it's embarrassing. I mean, but look, look how they raised their son.
Yeah.
Same kind of animal.
Yeah.
Same kind of uncontrollable animal. Yeah. There's no way to put it right. That's exactly what they raised in the household.
So, like, before we move on to national talk, John, we can just sum up the Biden administration this week in 2 minutes.
Voters are really starting to feel the economic impacts that this administration has set forward. The president has recently talked about it in the context of Bidenomics.
One indicator that's not changed is his approval rating and, in fact, his competitive, status against Donald Trump if he's the Republican nominee. Our poll that was Siena College last week found that the president's still at that 39% approval rating. I think the average on 538 is around 41%. That's the lowest of any president at this stage, going back to the history of polling, except for Jimmy Carter. That didn't work out well for him.
30 points from where he was during an election day in 2020 to 2020 to where they are now. Yes.
Which is remarkable. I mean, that really shows all the gains that they need to make.
Time in history, credit card debt for Americans has hit $1 trillion, to be exact, $1,003 billion. That's according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. That big number made public as consumers brace for yet another potential rate hike as policymakers try to keep inflation in check.
I mean, first of all, before I can't move on from that without talking about that video. Can you? I mean, talk about a national gaslight, right? Yeah. This is like Mao in China, like through the Cultural Revolution. He's going to tell you, you will be like this, and they're going to tell us Bidenomics.
And it's working.
Yeah, and it's working. Approval rating of 30. Under 40. It's on a constant under 40. It's the lowest since Jimmy Carter. I don't know about you, but Jimmy Carter was like the disease political forever, right? It was like he was the worst president in the history of mankind. Jimmy Carter was the worst, the worst. Everything was terrible with Jimmy Carter. When people talk about Jimmy Carter now, about when he was the president, as great of a man as Jimmy Carter was, right? Great guy, nice guy, family man, Christian, great guy, Jimmy Carter. He was a horrendous president.
Yes.
Right? And everybody knows. Biden's numbers, he's worse than Jimmy Carter.
Yep.
He's worse because he's such a buffoon, a clown, and he's not the nice guy. He's got a crackhead for a son. It's not like Jimmy Carter, who's a moral human being. Biden is like grotesque, and he can't raise a dog.
No.
And here he is leading a country. It's a shame. It's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, and you see what's going on around the country. You see that people are in trillions of dollars in debt with credit cards right now.
Yeah,
gasoline is
$1.3
still
trillion.
Around $4 a gallon. The prices of everything is just going up. Inflation is on the rise, and
everybody is screwed together. We're all in this sinking boat together. We're all in the sinking boat, right? Because there's a ton of people everywhere, and it's just there's nothing. There's there's no relief. You go to the grocery store, you can't eat out. A hamburger is like $15. It doesn't matter what you go into. Everyone is suffering, right? Yeah. And it's the consumer in the United States. The consumer is the loser, and I hate to tell you, everyone in the United States is a consumer, so we're all losers. I mean, it's really bad.
Ain't no more dollar menus, that's for sure.
No, I mean, and here's the thing: we know that these prices never come back. It's not like it's ever going to go down. It has to be somebody that's going to go against all these corporations and say, we're going to do this as a national thing. This is how we're going to resolve this problem, and you're going to be on board. And I can only think of one human being that would ever do that, at the cost of the companies, put the American people first, and that's Trump.
Yep.
So our first story is somebody who's been constantly battling with Trump, although he's essentially irrelevant.
Yes. Although he is making grounds.
Is he? That's
well, in
interesting.
New Hampshire.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Joe Biden also did another dumb mistake, as we said in the titles. He sent an old, useless, disarmed, obsolete battleship to the Ukraine. Let's look at this picture of this. There it is. The USS Chris Christie, largest battleship in the history of politics. Meets Zelensky.
Yeah.
Why would this even matter? Why would anybody? Why if you were Zelensky, why would you want to meet with Chris Christie?
Right.
Is the question, right?
No.
I get it. Chris Christie wants to be in the newspaper.
Yeah.
But Zelensky, why would he? Chris Christie has zero relevance.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
He'll never be president. He'll
there he
never
is.
be on the staff. He'll never. There's no point to it. Why would he even go?
They said in the article that he was trying to build momentum for his campaign. He was going there to show support for the war in Ukraine, and that Christie believes that we need to have victory in Ukraine at any cost.
Yeah, he's a pro-war. He's a pro-Ukraine war guy.
Yeah.
He would give them money, and they just asked for another, I think, $25 billion. Listen.
All the more reason not to consider him for anything.
Yeah, of course. We are in dire straits in the U.S., economically speaking, and they just asked for another $25 billion to send to Ukraine. Incredible. $25 billion. What is $25 billion per American? I mean, that's just a ton of money.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's forget about Chris Christie. Let's forget about him. He has no chance. Let's talk about some other crazy people that we got that are on TV. The View. The worst show in the history of television, The View.
Yeah.
They basically practice cannibalism on this little clip. Let's check it out.
Seem to be getting the credit for that. Only 41% approval. Is it because they think he's old? Because I don't see anything else they can point to with him.
He's old and dumb and gross and
it's a
creepy.
question for you, really, because you said you would not vote. No, but you said you would not vote.
My vote, one vote.
Every vote counts, and your vote counts, and I'm going to tell you.
But why?
Yeah, but I know you don't want to hear it.
Why is
Wait, I want to hear what it's on.
What are they talking about? They're telling the Republican that she should vote for Biden? You could probably sell Chris Christie to the Russians for more with a better chance than you could get a Republican to vote for Biden. Anybody who votes for Biden is not a real Republican. But listen to how ridiculous. This is so juvenile. The thought process with these women is so low in terms of quality that it's hard to watch. Keep rolling. Listen to what they're
Why
saying.
is your candidate not doing better with Democrats? That's who he needs to win. And moderate
Because they think he's old, that's why.
No. He's ruined the country in 2 years. That's not
I
enough.
am the same age as you.
Joe Biden is not doing poorly because I won't vote for Joe Biden. Let me just make that abundantly
That's the only
clear.
smart statement made in the show here. The one Republican's not voting for Joe Biden, and they're like, why won't you vote for him? He's got the worst ratings ever, and they're talking to the one Republican. Democrats aren't voting for him.
John, I would. It doesn't surprise me that they would do these things to a Republican. And if you're a Republican, you're sitting up there on The View, you're an idiot because And anyway, I would never defend this woman because I don't remember her name.
She's not even a real Republican.
She's not a real Republican. She's a never Trumper.
She's not a real
She doesn't
Republican.
deserve any defense.
Yeah. But if you're going to be hanging around cannibals, then that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what you get.
So here's a story that really irks me. This one really makes me upset. NASCAR basically took the Bud Light role. Yeah. I actually like NASCAR. I enjoy watching. I can watch anything on TV, any sport on TV, but I actually enjoy. I've been to a race. I've been to the Daytona 500. No. Enjoyed it, but I don't think I'll ever watch a NASCAR race again. This is the stupidest thing. So NASCAR decides that they are the organization that is now in charge of your First Amendment rights, and they have suspended a driver for liking a George Floyd meme. I don't know what meme he liked. I couldn't find that, right? They didn't say in the story, but I want to find that so that I can like that meme. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it says about George. Number one, George Floyd is a drug dealer, drug addict who pointed a gun at a woman's womb.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, if you want him to be that's your hero, I could not care any less. I don't care. If it offends you that I like a meme that is disgracing someone who's already been so disgraceful.
Yeah.
And I am so against, I can't believe it. I'm shocked. I'm not shocked, actually, because NASCAR is a woke, needs a social credit score type of company.
Yeah.
It's not like an organization that is really, truly American in its ideals any longer.
You see all these sports leagues and all these companies falling into line, behind this social credit system, and going against people just because of their beliefs and stuff. It's really ridiculous and sad to see NASCAR following suit.
I mean, here's the thing: if you can have the media, right, the mainstream media, lie all day long and act like they're telling the truth, but they lie all day long.
Yeah.
And you'll go with those lies, and the mainstream media can say whatever they want, but then this guy likes a post and he gets canceled.
Yeah.
Hell no, that's not the way it's supposed to go.
No.
That's not the way it's supposed to go. That's not. I don't care what it is. This guy could have liked some kind of Nazi or a swastika or something like that, racist, and I still wouldn't be for us deciding that we're going to cancel his First Amendment rights. I don't care what you like. I don't have to like it. I don't have to support it. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to give it any credence. I don't have to respect it. How I feel about it makes no difference whatsoever.
Right.
How I feel about it makes no difference. You have a God-given First Amendment right, and for some organization, especially some stupid sports organization, to come and decide that they're going to take away your livelihood because of your thought, hell no. That's not American.
No.
That's not American. They should take out the first two letters of NASCAR and just call it SCAR, because that's what they are. They're a scar on the American fabric now. They're no longer North American. That's just trash.
I mean, that's really worse than any sports league. Anything that any other sports league has done.
That's the worst thing ever. And if I were this guy, I would sue the crap out of him.
Yeah.
I would sue the crap. But I'm sure in their contract they have like a behavioral clause or social media or whatever. But nonetheless, you can't take away somebody's First Amendment rights like that.
No.
And you should pay. When you try, you should pay the price. And that's what these companies try to do with COVID. They try to do it with everything. So now they're going to do it with your personal beliefs. I don't care. This guy could be, I'm not saying that he is, but this NASCAR driver, he could be a racist, a bigot. He could be an anti-Semite. He can hate Hispanics. He can hate everybody named John, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care. God is the one who gives you your rights in this country. In this country, your rights are given to you by God. That puts them out of reach of the government.
Yeah.
And for this company to come and do that, this organization to come and do that, shame on NASCAR.
Absolutely.
Shame on NASCAR.
That's for the consumer to make the decision.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's right. If you're not down with it, then you don't buy the jersey, you don't buy the sports memorabilia.
You don't support that
You don't
individual.
support that driver. That's right.
Yeah.
And they're taking the power out of the hands, and they're creating a narrative outside of the country that people may or may not agree with.
Yeah, we're going to decide for you.
Yeah, they're deciding for just like the state house is trying to decide our state rep.
Yep.
Just like the state house is trying to decide our school board member.
Yeah.
Just like that. I mean, that stuff is no good. The American people are the ones that are supposed to be in charge of these things, and you're taking the power away from the American, and you're taking it for yourself. And you know who does things like that? Dictators do things like that.
Absolutely.
Right? All these leftist crazies in other third world countries, they're the ones that do that.
Yeah.
Anyways, enough of NASCAR. Screw NASCAR. Screw NASCAR. I mean, it's not like we live in a state, thank God,
Yeah.
like California, right? But California is not the only state that has lost its mind. Of course, the theme this week is organizations and people who have lost their minds. Massachusetts has lost their minds recently. Now remember, Massachusetts was really heavy on the COVID rulings.
Yeah.
They were forcing people to get the COVID vaccines. 7 Massachusetts state troopers lost their jobs over refusing to get the COVID vaccine. Guess what happened? Massachusetts had to foot the bill to make these guys whole. Thank God for them. Good for them. God bless you. God bless our law enforcement officers who refused to get the shot at a severe personal and professional cost. I'm glad that these guys got made whole by the Massachusetts state troopers. They deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, it seems like everybody. I know there's a lot of people in Florida who are from Massachusetts, right? A lot of people from Massachusetts moved to Florida. I have several friends who are from Massachusetts, and they're crazy people, right? Including even my friends are crazy that are from Boston. But the mayor of Boston is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, look what she did. She created a list. Do we have that story here? She created a list of
an enemies list.
Of enemies list, right? So she created basically what's a hit list. Now, somebody else created a hit list too, right here in Florida. Yeah. The governor created a hit list of crazy school board members, right? So, but anyway, she created a hit list that was official. This was not like these are my official strategic, because the hit list that DeSantis made, the difference is that he was public about it. He said, we're going to help and do this and blah, 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 but the right way. Yeah. Now, when you do things the right way, you can do it in public, right? You can do it in the sunshine when you're doing it the right way. And DeSantis did it the right way. He said, we're going to take this on a strategic level. We're going to get rid of these people by doing. But that's not how the Democrats do it.
No.
The Democrats do it by hiding and colluding and breaking the law. So anyways, the Boston mayor required to produce the evidence, and now we know that she had a hit list. But this is typical of Democrat behavior.
Yeah.
And Massachusetts is a damn mess.
Yeah, Massachusetts, it's always been far to the left. It has been for years.
It is a mess.
They call it Taxachusetts because the taxes are so high there. It's a ridiculous place. It is the place where, if you forgot, Mitt Romney was the governor of Massachusetts at one point.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
He was the only Republican, I think, in forever to win governorship in Massachusetts. And not only do we have all those other things, the migrant crisis in Massachusetts is so bad now.
Yeah.
They're asking people to take these homeless migrants into their homes.
Yeah, it's absolutely. So we have a video on this, but can you imagine? This is the house. This is where the revolution started here, right?
Yeah.
And why? Because one of the reasons that they started the revolution is because the British would house their soldiers through the Quartering Act. That you would have to house the soldiers, right? The government. The king of England would tell Americans, go and house these soldiers in your homes, and you'd have to cover the cost, right? You'd have to cover the cost, the expense of having them there. So now, in Boston, in Massachusetts, of all places, they're asking Americans to house illegal aliens and migrants in their homes. I mean, man, maybe it's time for another revolution. Look at this, it's crazy.
If you have an extra room or suite in your home, please consider hosting a family. Safe
A family.
shelter is our most pressing need. Become a sponsor family. You can contact the Brazilian Worker Center for more information on how you can step up if you're willing to have an additional family be part of your family.
Are they crazy? Have they not seen inflation? Number one, let's say that you are one of these crazy Democrats who's not a hypocrite and who would be willing to do this, right? Because that's the problem. Democrats are hypocrites. So they might be willing, right? They might be willing to vote for the policy. They'll never put them in their home. But let's say that they were. Have you seen the expense of your own family? Now you got to take a migrant because your government did not close the border.
Well, let's say that you are a bleeding heart liberal and you do this, John, and you take in a family, a migrant family into your home. This could go wrong in so many different ways.
Who's going to be legally responsible?
Yeah.
Who's going to be legally responsible if anything happens, if they commit a crime? Are you going to be harboring a criminal now? Right? What if they commit a crime against your family? How do you get rid of them?
What if the migrant family kicks you out of your own house?
I mean,
changes the locks and tells you don't come back.
And in these liberal states, it's hard to get these renters out anyways.
Yeah.
So now what kind of rights are you extending to them? Are they tenants?
Yeah.
Right? So now you can't kick them out. You have to live with them, even if after you want to kick them out, they don't pay rent, they don't do whatever. All that stuff. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy what man, Democrats are really willing to
I just say this. Thank God we live in the free state of Florida, John.
Thank God we live in the free state of Florida. You're right. Massachusetts is a massive mess.
So before we move on to the state of Florida, here's a word from one of our friends, Shane.
Hey guys, I'd like to introduce your listeners to Q Streaming. Nope, not like the letter Q, but the letter CUE. Communication unites everyone. For $59.99 a month, no one can offer anything close to what Q Streaming can with no contracts. Here are just a few of the things. For movie and TV buffs like the two of you, they have nearly 30,000 movies and over 6,000 TV series available on demand. More wholesome kids programming than any other services by far, and not just the ones that other big streaming services want you to have. Local channels from around the country, over 800 of them. Over 100 sports channels and all the pay-per-view events. Also, NFL ticket and red zone channels included. These channels alone can cost you $100 to $300 a year. For the ladies, or the ones that identify as ladies, 3 Hallmark channels, 3 Lifetime channels, and the channel my wife likes the best, Investigation Discovery. Oh, snapped. All of this for $59.99 a month. And with the cost of cable and satellite companies continuing to rise, and a much better variety than any other streaming service, the value of Q Streaming is second to none. Go to rshane3434.myqstreaming.com. Feel free to explore the web player, log in as a guest, and search the channels, movies, and TV shows available. I have no doubt you'll like what you see. Sign up today and stop giving your money to those big companies.
All right, so
yeah, now we're on to the state of Florida, and here's the debate that nobody asked for. The Ron DeSantis and Gavin Newsom details are coming out, and there's a couple of things they're fighting about right now. The rules, right, that they want to abide by, and we said it on the last show. This was a bad idea, right? Yeah. This is a bad idea. In my opinion, this is a selfish move by the governor.
Who does this serve? I mean,
who does it serve? It helps Newsom prepare for a presidential race. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I don't think that you want Newsom to run. I think that Newsom is an idiot. Yeah. Right? If it were a Newsom against DeSantis, DeSantis would win.
Absolutely.
100% DeSantis. Number one, I think that he'll win the debate, right? But number two, what he does is he gives Newsom a leg up, right? That he does not need in the national scene, right? Number three, it makes him look bad getting into an argument over the details. He has to not have like an opening statement, which is probably one of his weaker areas, right? Is making those statements. He did the pre-recorded message on Twitter, right? When he did his announcement for governor, he was reading. People were saying that he's reading off of a script, right? They didn't like that. I don't know why he would. To me, it seems like he would be good off the cuff. Yeah. But maybe I don't know why he doesn't like doing that. He has to not. But any little thing, Newsom is going to pick it apart, right? Yeah. He's going to use it. He's going to exploit it. And he's going to make you look bad over it. Yeah. But why give him a national stage? You're running for president. He's not.
Right.
So all he is some traveling loudmouth. Why would you give him the time of day?
It really makes no sense to me, John. It's going to be on Fox News. It's going to be hosted by Sean Hannity. I don't see the point. I really don't see the point. I know people will watch it because they're going to be fascinated by this, but
well, certainly I would watch it. I mean, and this is a great time for me to actually say, I will be hosting, along with the RLC, the FRA, and the RNHA, a presidential primary watch party on August 23rd. If you are in Osceola County, come and join us. It's $15 per person. We'll have a good time. That includes food and drinks. So come watch the presidential primary with us. We'll put details below. So yeah, I really don't get this whole debate thing. I mean, he doesn't need to. No. He's the second guy. He's like third in line to the throne, right? You have Trump and Biden, right, locked in a battle for the presidency. Yeah. And then if you were to say anybody else, who else is going to be president, it would be him.
Yeah.
So why would he give a guy that's like fifth or sixth or seventh in line? Why would he give it? It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. And it hurts Republicans, as I mentioned before, right? Because what it does is nationally you're bringing Democrats out.
Yeah.
That's what this is doing. It's bringing Democrats out, and they don't need, we might as well just let them be quiet.
Yeah.
If all they're going to do is have Biden campaign from a closet, that hurts Democrats throughout the country. and to bring them out to support this guy, this hair gel addict, then it hurts Republicans everywhere. There's no point to it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, what else do we got for that? We got another crazy person. Man,
well,
you think
actually, we're moving on to.
Oh wait, we have
one that we didn't talk about.
Let's do it.
And this is the Carolina Amnesty. We all know her. She's one of our state representatives. She is in a war with the Orlando Sentinel, and I guess they've been putting out a couple of hit pieces on Carolina.
Yeah, they've been coming after her for some reason.
Yeah, and we're not really sure why, but we all know that the Orlando Sentinel is a leftist rag. It has been for a long time. But here's one of the articles that she cited. Where Allie Braswell, which I guess is who she's running against right now, was calling her out for living in a home that's owned by a religious nonprofit, which is the church that her father runs.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Their organization. It's their church. It's their organization. Their company. I don't understand what the problem is here exactly. I don't understand why this is an issue. But here's what I really don't understand. I know why, but I don't understand how any organization with any integrity can think it's a good idea to put up a story that does nothing but highlight a guy who lost. He was rejected by the people of Central Florida. Yeah. He was rejected by this district. I think it's 45. Yeah. Why are they giving the guy who lost a chance to speak on her, to attack her from outside? Yeah. In the nosebleed sections, it makes no sense.
No.
So I mean, good for her for fighting back. It's I don't think that there's any wrong. If you have a company, right, and that company owns a house, just like if it were a trust, how many people live in homes that are owned by trusts?
Yeah.
Right? I guarantee you that we have a whole bunch of politicians here who live in homes that are owned by trusts or who get money from trusts, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, what is the problem with that?
Well,
I never see the Orlando Sentinel reporting on things that are worthy. Here they are reporting on some issue that's nothing.
Yeah.
Talk about a nothing burger.
She said that she is unmarried.
Yeah.
She still lives with her family, with her parents. So she lives in that house. Once she gets married, she'll move out of that house. But it's
oh my gosh! A woman who's not married, not living with a man before they're married. Right. Oh, how offended the.
But she said in her family, their traditions and the way that she was brought up, that you live in the house with your family until you're married.
Yes, I mean, what is wrong with that?
Yeah,
that is so respectable. I mean. She's a respectable woman. I understand now why the Orlando Sentinel has a problem with them. They'd rather have that crazy Nikki Fried who curses, every third word, or that crazy other lady. What's the crazy? I mean, every Democrat, female Democrat. They don't want a woman who is a lady. They want all these crazy people who are nutcases, nut jobs. I mean, give me a break. The Sentinel should be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should really be better.
Absolutely.
Not knowing any of the details of that case, right? So now we're going to talk about this crazy lady that we talked about earlier. All right? I guess it's time now.
Oh, are we going to talk about
Civil War? Let's do it.
Yeah. So Nikki Fried, she's making all the headlines now, the leftist rags throughout the state, because she's fired up trying to get Democrats elected. And she's saying that Republicans are within a civil war right now. And that's going to help Democrats win.
Well, I'm not sure that it's going to help Democrats win. Maybe it helps them win. Maybe it helps them a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a partial good point here in that the Republicans are locked in this DeSantis-Trump, at least in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what really matters to Fried. She's the Florida Democrat, is here. And you're going to have all the people, basically the congressional delegation, going with Trump, and you're going to have the state delegation going with DeSantis. DeSantis has had kind of a heavy hand in getting people to endorse, and you never know what's going on behind the scenes, right? I'm always very suspicious and cynical about how they do that.
Yeah.
Because in our county is probably the worst example of how any of that can go down. Endorsements, relationships. They've picked the worst here in Osceola County.
Yeah.
And so they kind of lost our respect, my respect at least.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she might have a good point here. She might have a good point. Now, I don't think that she has a point regarding the Democrats, though. And this is where DeSantis had a tremendous point in the article. He goes in and he describes. We have a video?
Yeah, we do.
Let's play it. But DeSantis, it's only before we play the video, DeSantis makes a great point and states, I don't know if it's in the video, but DeSantis says that, you got to, if you want to win elections, you got to put away the crazy. You got to put away all this, transgender ideology and all the things that people don't like. That's the only way that you're going to win elections, and it's 100% true. Let's watch the video.
Have announced a $1 million investment in voter registration across the state, but especially focusing on Miami-Dade County and other counties that surprisingly went the Ron DeSantis way during that last gubernatorial run. How important is it, though, for the nation and the impact on the nation by making that $1 million investment inside the state of Florida?
This is really significant, not just significant, as you just pointed out, to the people here in the state, but across the entire country. Because when Florida Democrats show up, when we organize, when we do the work on the ground, we win. And that helps to create the national narrative that Florida Democrats are fighting back, that we are standing up for the issues that everyday Floridians actually care about.
No.
Number one, they're doing the exact opposite of what she just said. They're not talking about things that Floridians care about. Floridians don't care about transgender ideology. We don't care about having the rainbow flag hang from the Capitol. We don't care about those things. No. We care about jobs, high-paying jobs. We care about our economy. We care about being able to support our kids. We care about people not performing genital mutilation on children. We care about our schools actually being better than 50% proficiency rates for kids. Those are the things we care about. How about homes that aren't 150% more than anybody can afford? Those are the things that we care about. Yeah. And while the Democrats are focused on nothing but chemically castrating children, they're not going to win elections in this state. You might win an election in New York. You might win an election in Massachusetts. You might win an election in California because that's where all the crazy people are. But in Florida, you're not going to win an election on that kind of ideology. It's never going to work here.
No, not at all.
And that's why they're losing the registration battle, right? And this whole, we're going to spend $1 million. Last year they spent, and Ziegler said it, I think in his in the next video.
Yes.
Ziegler might state it, that they spent $2 million the year before and they didn't get anywhere. They lost 178,000 registrations, I think. Let's play that video.
Yeah.
Of Florida Republican Party now, Christian Ziegler. Christian, you heard it there from Nikki Fried. She says that Democrats are empowered. They are ready to hit the ground running and hoping to make a comeback in Florida. What do you think about their renewed efforts?
Yeah, look, last cycle they had a $2 million campaign towards voter registration, and they actually lost, I think it was about 140,000 registered voters on the Democrat side. So throwing money at this is not going to work. Any of their efforts towards voter registration is not going to work until they actually go to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is that the Democrat Party is pushing an extreme agenda. I mean, here you have a Democrat Party. What they're pushing is stuff like indoctrinating, sexualizing, and mutilating our children. And they're openly pushing that type of agenda throughout our state and throughout our country. And voters are turned off, and that's why they're fleeing the Democrat Party. And we see the numbers. I mean, as you mentioned, the Florida Republican Party went from, we were down 4.5 years ago, we were down by 250,000 registered voters. Now we're up by 543,000 registered voters. So we've had almost an 800,000 registration swing towards the Republicans. And that's because people are not buying the extreme agenda pushed by the Democrat Party. So,
but to play the devil's advocate here, she mentioned, speaking of agendas, she brought up Governor Ron DeSantis talking about the abortion ban in Florida, permitless carry. Those sort of things have galvanized Democrats and sort of given them that renewed energy. What are the conversations within the GOP, seeing that this is happening within the Democratic Party, that they're getting more energy to go after Governor Ron DeSantis and some of his policies?
So that's exactly the issue with the Democrat Party, is they're speaking to a very small minority radical base. Everything they pursue, everything they put out is really earmarked for that base. A year ago, just 1 year ago, memories can be short, but 1 year ago, I was being told by the Democrats that Governor DeSantis' agenda is too radical. He's going to lose re-election. What really happened? In 2018, he won by 30,000 votes, or less than 0.5% in our state. In 2022, 4 years later, just a couple months ago, the voters looked at his results and his agenda and what he was promising as he came in for re-election, and he went from winning by less than 0.5% to 19.4%, or 1.5 million votes. So it's the same tune. They're not really changing what the root of the problem is. And again, that's the fact that the Democrat Party has become so extreme that people are looking at it and saying, look, this is not.
I don't know why I cut off right there, but anyway.
No, he's 100% right in that assessment. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, and the Democrats have really blown a purple state into a red state with their BS on transgender ideology and all this, crazy ideas that people don't care about, that don't impact our homes, and that they want to make this Florida, instead of a free state, they want to make it a state free to castrate children.
They're so focused on these far left social issues that when it comes down to it, people don't really care about.
No, they don't.
Real people, they don't care about it.
I mean, and it's, there's only, I think that what they're doing is playing the long game, right? They know that young people are not the wisest, right? And
they're not too
they're trying to
worried
set
about
up the
real
future
issues.
elections, And so those people, they still don't pay for their phones, or they don't pay for their, whatever, their health insurance. They don't pay for all those things yet. No. When they have kids, when they're in their 30s and they have kids, you're going to see a lot of even young people be like, man, this is some BS.
Yeah.
All right, this is BS. I want to be able to afford a home. I live in an apartment with 5 kids. And 3 of them are transgender. I mean, there's a problem going on in society. I mean, there's a problem here. So
yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, let's transition to our.
Before we move on to Osceola County, we have one more message for you.
All right.
Can you trust a random text? Only real Republican? I don't think so. She began her tenure on the school board, nominating her friend, liberal Democrat Terry Castillo.
The portion of the meeting is now open. The floor is open for nominations for chairman of the school board of Osceola County.
I nominate Terry Castillo as chair.
I have a motion by Mrs. Booth to nominate Terry Castillo as
This is the
chair.
same Terry Castillo that was pushing for mask mandate for all Osceola students. In the 5 months she's been on the board, the majority of her votes are with her Democrat friends and against the only true conservative school board member, John Arguello.
Ms. Erica Booth, District 5, we've contacted you on several occasions, and I understand that you're going for a new position and that you already promoting yourself as a parents' right advocate. And I'm sorry to say that you have not been an advocate on the school board in a short time, so I cannot see you performing well in that position either.
Believe me, all Osceola County knows. Erica Booth is no conservative patriot.
This message is paid for by T2G2 PAC. It is not paid for or authorized by any candidate or campaign.
Yeah, so absolutely I can attest to that video. Sitting with her for 5 months on the same dais. She is not the conservative on the school board. There's only one. That one is me. Yeah. So it's absolutely not her. She is a total disappointment in terms of parental rights or any kind of issues like that to the community that voted for her. Total disappointment. So if you live in District 35, which is Lake Nona, Wedgefield, Waterford Lakes, all the way down through Osceola County, the eastern part of Osceola County, I would avoid that disappointment that you absolutely will feel. If you're hoping for someone that will fight for you and to fight to keep Florida free, that's not the candidate for you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about something. Now, okay, this is a serious issue. Do we have a video? Let's play the video.
Yeah, we do have a video.
Irizarry was sentenced to 180 days in jail. Irizarry also received probation and community service. He was taken directly tonight into custody.
Mr. Irizarry, if you have any personal items that you would like to send with your wife, okay, I see you've taken them out. Thank you. The deputies are going to go ahead and take you into custody.
Earlier tonight, a jury found him guilty on 14 charges related to his campaign finances. Today, he told the court he didn't read a Florida statute on campaign financing before running because it had, quote, too many words.
Liar.
And he didn't keep track of his expenses either. Irizarry later admitted he did read some of the statute and learned more about it after advising other campaigns.
Yeah, he's a liar. I mean, that's complete crap.
Okay.
I don't believe it.
So let me say this about this situation with Carlos. Number one, this is not a victory. Him going to jail is not a victory for anyone. And I'll tell you why. Is it good that he got caught? Okay, fine, whatever. I don't care about any of that. Because he did not go to jail for being a ghost candidate.
No.
That's the real, okay, so I don't know, he may have, let's say that he took, here's essentially what this revolves around. He took campaign money, used it for himself with no intention of earning. It didn't go towards the race. This money was for him. He took money and he used it for himself because he had no intention of winning, right? The part about that is really a problem for me is the fact that he had no intention of winning. He's defrauding the people of Osceola County. That's what he did, right? But he didn't go to jail for that. No. He went to jail for paperwork, right? I don't think that you should go to jail for paperwork. Number one, generally speaking, we don't go to jail for debt. That's not what I think we should go to jail for. You need to go to jail for defrauding the people of Osceola County. That's why people need to go to jail. And that's not him necessarily. So should he go to jail? I don't care. I don't even care about that. What I care about is the people who really perpetrated the fraud on the people of Osceola County, who are the people that paid Irizarry to do this, are the ones that should go to jail, because they're the ones that have enough money to bribe people in Osceola County to go run for office. They use their weaknesses against them, and then they set them up for failure, and then they walk away with no issues at all. They walk away cleaning their hands. The people who paid Irizarry just let him go to jail, and they're still in their mansions, over here, pretending like nothing happened. Those are the people that need to go to jail. Yeah. The people who have been perpetrating a fraud on the people of Osceola County for decades, those are the ones that need to go to jail, right? The lobbyists and the shady people who made this happen, they're the ones that need to go to jail. The people that approached Carlos Irizarry and said, hey, Carlos, we know your wife has cancer, and so if you take this money, we'll give you the money. You can keep, you can keep this, and whatever arrangement they made, those are the people that need to go to jail. I don't care about some stooge going to jail. It makes no difference. Nobody cares about the guy who's the teenager selling a joint on the street. You want the guy you want the dealer to go to jail. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the dealer here. So who is that? And I hope that they get to the bottom of that. I hope this is just the beginning. Because if it's only Carlos, then all they've done is placate the people of Osceola County. Yeah. They basically, the FDLE performed a fraud on the people of Osceola County by pretending like they actually did what they were supposed to do, because nobody cares about Carlos Irizarry. He's irrelevant. Yeah. That's why he's a good ghost candidate. He is irrelevant. Nobody was going to come and help him. Nobody was going to stand out there. Nobody was going to support him. Nobody was going to give him money to protect himself. Nobody was going to advise him correctly. Nobody was going to do anything. That's why he's a great ghost candidate, because he had a recognizable name, and that is it. Not an ounce of resources outside of that. No. So who's the guy that bribed Carlos Irizarry? Who's the person, who's the group of people who bribed Carlos Irizarry to run for county commissioner and steal that race from the people of Osceola County? Who are those people? They're the ones that need to go to jail. Yeah. That's what the problem is. That's what makes me so pissed off. So now the people involved with this, they're saying that, oh, well, that's coming. There's something coming. No.
I pray that FDLE is supposedly still looking into this. There's still more to come. And hopefully, and I think we both have a good idea of who put Carlos Irizarry up to this. I mean, people have said it before.
Well, here's the sad part. I mean, I have the text from Carlos Irizarry telling me who was involved, right? Yeah. When I texted him and I said, hey, was Fred Hawkins involved? And he said, among others. That's a name right there. He told me the name. He said that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's credible. I don't know if he lied to me. I don't know. No. But that's a name, right? So okay, fine. We know what he did say. He said in those texts, white Republicans. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And it really irks me. It really gets under my skin that Republicans were getting involved in a race between two Democrats so that they can continue being corrupt. That's really what gets me. Why? And what Republicans would do that? I think we have a good idea of which Republicans, right? It's not these Republicans. It's not these conservatives. It's not the FRA. It's not the RLC. It's not those Republicans who are out there trying to win elections because they care about our country and they care about our community. Those aren't the Republicans. It's the ones, it's the uniparty Republicans, right? It's the Republicans, they don't care about ideology, they don't care about the country, they don't care about their community. What they care about is corruption and making themselves rich. That's what they care about, and that's exactly why they do what they do. It has nothing to do with ideology, it has nothing to do with the American flag, it has everything to do with the flag of their own wallet. That's it.
Yeah,
and that's what really gets me about this. I could care less. Some old man going to jail while his wife has cancer, that's not a victory for me.
No.
I don't feel good about that.
I mean, I'm glad he's going to jail. I'm glad he's paying some price for what he did.
He should.
His part in this. Yeah, absolutely.
He should have a consequence. Absolutely. Yeah. But this is not a victory for the people of Osceola because he's not the perpetrator of the crime. He was the one who got used in the crime that's being perpetrated. The perpetration of the crime is far more than somebody lying on some papers or somebody doing what he did, what he went to jail for. Right? That's not the perpetration of it. That's him and the Tallahassee. Yeah. That's him in the court. That's him in whatever. I don't care about that issue. That's him. He did not do his paperwork, right? He got in trouble. Okay. That's not newsworthy in my opinion. You perpetrating a crime against the people of Osceola, tens of thousands of people, that's a real crime. That's what somebody should go to jail for. But that's not what he went to jail for.
No.
So that's fine. If he's not going to jail for that, who is?
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I think is important, and that's where we need to get to.
Well, I'm telling you, John, I pray that there is more to come. I pray that we're going to get some bigger names that are going to be involved in this and be taken down by this whole thing. I'm hoping the FDLE is going to really come into Osceola County and dig deep because there's a lot to find here if they do.
Yeah, because I mean, what we care about is not you going around picking out everybody who made a mistake on their paperwork. Yeah. What we care about is people or people who we don't want people. It's like the IRS. Right? If the only crime that was ever prosecuted in the country was people who cheated on their taxes, okay, I'm not objecting, right? But okay, that's not a victory for the people of the United States, right? But if you go and you get the scumbags who are robbing people on the street, that's a victory, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I mean, listen, I'm glad that there's consequences, but at the same time, this is not a victory for the people of Osceola. The victory is still to come. Yeah. And if no victory ever comes, if nothing happens after this that involves the people who paid Carlos Irizarry, then we were just lied to into thinking that this was going to be a positive step towards getting rid of corruption in the most corrupt county in Osceola in Florida.
And these are the people that like to orchestrate elections here in Osceola County.
Yeah, exactly.
And we all know who they are. They orchestrate endorsements. They orchestrate the entire process.
Yeah.
The entire process.
They just orchestrated one recently.
Yeah, I mean, you can see what's happening.
I'm not going to say who, but yeah, absolutely.
You can see what's happening in the District 35 race where one candidate.
Look how pissed the community got.
Yeah.
Right? They got listen. So there's an organization that endorsed one of the candidates in District 35. It's one of the people who created all the problems in Osceola, associated with one of the people who created the problems in Osceola County, and the community got pissed. Everybody was like, "Oh, there was a lot of anger in that, right? A lot of frustration in that, and for good reason. It's absolutely good reason that people were frustrated.
And you can see that this one candidate, and I'll say her name, Erica Booth.
Well, I didn't want to say her candidate because I didn't want to just say she got endorsed by anybody.
But she got endorsements right out of the gate.
Yeah.
And these endorsements, these companies are
by people who have nothing to do with Florida too.
Right. These endorsements came out of the gate right off the bat. The race is just announced, and all of a sudden she was endorsed by this group and endorsed by that group, and they didn't talk to the other candidates.
Yeah,
so how do those endorsements mean anything? And I can tell you from when I ran, the endorsements mean nothing, because there were several organizations that put out endorsements. I had to fight to get a conversation with somebody, and I was told that there wasn't going to be an endorsement, and then there was. I was not even spoken to by one organization. They spoke to my opponent and went ahead and endorsed him, and then sent me a letter after speaking to you in much deliberation. We decided to go with him, and I'm like, you guys never spoke to me. What are you talking about? So, you know, it just showed me that these endorsements are completely orchestrated. I don't take them for anything, but I guess some people do, you know?
Well, I mean, I think that the people who don't know, right, because the vast majority of people who are involved in or who vote, the vast majority of people who vote, even the people who vote in every single election, including primary, special elections, everything, they don't know what's really going on, right? They kind of, maybe they'll do a Google search, or they're connected. Either, you know, if they're connected, right, like you and I, we're aligned with people, right? If they're aligned with one of the incumbents or the establishment, so to speak, then they're aligned. They're going to go vote for them specifically. They don't care what they know, right? They're going to vote for them. But then there's certain people who go out, they're going to vote, and they're going to maybe do like a Google search, or they're going to, oh, I heard this is a nice person, or they like the picture, or the name is Hispanic or white, and they're Hispanic or they white, they vote that way, or whatever. But here's the thing, you need to know that we're in desperate times. Our country is in desperate times. If you go out and you don't vote with some consideration and with your deep conscience, then we're in deep trouble. We're in deep trouble. In Osceola County especially, we are in deep, deep trouble. Look at the traffic. Look how bad that traffic is. So now it was Erica Booth who was endorsed. You're endorsing the woman who's married to one of the people who's responsible for all the traffic that was created, and that traffic is because of runaway development, and that person is there to create development. So now you have now you're going to send a development person. You already have one on the commission. Now you're going to send a development rich person who's going to green light every piece, advocate on behalf of development in an out of control way to Tallahassee. That's what you want? You know who wants that? People who own land. Right? Absolutely. Because they're selling the land and they're getting out of Dodge, and they don't care about the bag that's left with the people. And it's the same thing. And those people are practically the same people who are the ones who we were talking about, we hope get caught, you know, manufacturing these election results. And so, I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's a tough situation. You know, I just think you need to really take some consideration when you're voting. And we hear people talking positive, oh, well, it's a good family and so on or some whatever. I was saying it earlier, right? It's hard to not like some of these people, right? Like there's somebody else who's getting involved in politics from nowhere, right? And we're going through and we're doing our due diligence and searching this person. And I said it myself, it's hard for me not to like this person. Why? Because they're all about pro-USA. They love their country. They have pictures of their grandfather, their father from who knows how old long ago, and they were recounting a story saying, hey, you know, Daddy was telling me, you go and you do this and blah, 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 whatever. That kind of great American gritty story, that like hard work, American perseverance, and all that is meaningful to me. You know, it means a lot to me. I want a person like that. But I don't want a person who's that and corrupt, because when you have that, it ruins it, right? A small amount of poison ruins the entire meal, and that's how I feel about these
when you're running for office for all the wrong reasons, when you're running for office because you were asked to or told to, you know,
to maintain power,
right?
To
maintain power, you've never shown any interest in the past, you know.
Nor do you have any involvement. Yeah, it's just the only reason is to hold on to the seat. You're just holding on the power. And this person, there's somebody else. I guess the Booths are now running. So imagine a Booth as county commissioner, a Booth as a state rep, a Booth now as a school board member, essentially. These are all related people. They're all related. So you're going to put everybody from one family in all the seats? Why would we do that? That's un-American. It's un-American. I'm not saying you can't have family that's also in position, right? People, if you're raised to lead, you're raised to lead. Fine, I don't have any issues with that. But when you do it and you're bad at it, Ricky Booth is an absolute moron. He's a moron. He does not have the capacity or the talent to lead our county into the future. I can know that 100%. Okay.
This is what we talk about when we talk about Osceola County royalty.
Yeah. Yeah. Erica Booth does not have the talent to make it in, and she has the talent to just rubber stamp things. That would be her only talent. These are not people who are capable of great things.
Spent 5 minutes on the school board and accomplished absolutely nothing.
No, less than nothing. She made it worse. Not only did she make it worse, but now she's going to go to Tallahassee and do nothing. I mean, come on. No. I listen, if you're watching the show, if you watch later, please give it some consideration. Go a little bit further than just voting for people that you like. These are serious consequences. The results of this election will be really important.
You know, right now the District 35 race is being run by Tallahassee lobbyists, especially one campaign in particular, which is Erica Booth's campaign. They're going to hit you with 20 different mailers, maybe even more than that.
More.
You know what I mean?
Every couple of days you'll get a mailer.
Text messages,
because they got all the money in the world. That's what they're going to do. Yep, they're going to flood you with information from now until the election day.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about somebody that's actually good then. No, we're not there yet.
Well, no, not there yet.
We're not there yet. Next one.
We have a former deputy that's now running for sheriff, making accusations against Sheriff Lopez. This is on her own Facebook page. It's also in another political page on Facebook. She posted, and her name is Amaryllis Rivera. She said that she was terminated effective immediately one day after announcing that she was running for sheriff. I guess she says she gave her 2 weeks notice, and 3 days before her last day, she was escorted out of the building by the Osceola County Sheriff's Department's HR department.
Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know, I guess she was upset by this or humiliated and kind of compared it to what happened to Sheriff Lopez when he decided to run for sheriff and he was going up against Russ Gibson.
Well, I think that number one, it is for sure, it is embarrassing, right? I mean, it's absolutely embarrassing to be perp walked out of the, out of your job. But at the same time, it's legal. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. My question is, I do understand her point though, right?
Yeah.
Marcos Lopez campaigned on the fact that Gibson did this.
Yeah.
Right? He campaigned on the fact that he did this, and he had all kinds of thoughts about why this was dishonorable and a bad act, and it was legal. But nonetheless, he made it a really big deal. So here she is now. She's running. I guess she's a Democrat too. Let's look at it. Let's pull her up on the supervisor of elections. But
there are so many people running for sheriff right now.
Yeah, I know, man. It's crazy.
So many.
But it does say, why couldn't he? Doesn't he? It's not a threat to him. Why would he do it? Why would he do it? It doesn't make any sense. Sometimes people do things that don't make any sense. Why? I mean, I guess they could say the same for me, right? They can say, why do you pick these fights with the establishment when they have all the money? But okay, so here are the people who have filed for a sheriff. Tim Devine as a write-in. Luis Tony Fernandez as a Democrat, Russ Gibson as a Democrat, Donnie Martinez as a Republican, Amaryllis Rivera as a Democrat. So you're gonna now you have 3 Hispanics, right? No. Without Lopez. Lopez is gonna get in. Now, then you're gonna have 4 Hispanics, all right? Is it 4 Hispanics? You're gonna have 4 candidates, 3 Hispanics, 1 white guy. Who do you think is going to win that Democrat primary? Yeah. Right? It could very well.
And I pray that doesn't happen.
You could very well end up with Gibson as the Democrat candidate running for sheriff. So this has turned into a big mess now.
Well, you got to figure this too, John, because there's going to be another one because Sheriff Lopez has to file too, so he's going to be in.
That's
there
what I mean with him,
okay,
right?
Okay.
So with Lopez, we'll have 4 candidates, 3 Hispanics, and 1 white guy. So that's pretty much creating a situation for Russ Gibson to get that, because Russ Gibson's the former sheriff. He has a name. He's an establishment guy. They would love to have him as sheriff again, right? He'd probably go up and arrest all the opponents of the establishment the way that Joe Biden has had his Merrick Garland do, you know. But here's the idea. You have one Republican. You're going to have Donnie Martinez. I think he pronounces it Martinez.
Good bit of money already, huh?
Well, that's probably himself. But so you have Donnie and you have Russ, a Democrat and a Republican. The Republican being a Hispanic name, at least, versus a white Democrat. You will see. Who knows what happens, right? They're leaving now. Sheriff is the incumbent.
Yeah.
And Sheriff has Republican fans and he's got Democrat fans, right? Yeah. We know Republicans who like Lopez.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just an interesting race. I don't know why he hasn't filed yet, but let's see. Let's see. Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, some more interesting news happening in Osceola County. Governor DeSantis announces that he suspended Orange Osceola State Attorney Monique Morell.
Yeah. You know what?
This should have been a long time coming right here.
I think a lot of people, Marcus Marrero, they had forecasted that this would happen.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody is surprised by this happening. Monique Morell has the highest rate of letting people off of their criminal prosecutions than anybody else in the state. Yeah. So let me repeat that. Monique Morell has the highest rate of letting people off without jail time or consequences as the state attorney than anyone else in the state of Florida. So do you think she was going to get hemmed up at some point? Yeah. No. I think everybody saw this coming, right? Yeah. And when he won his election, his re-election, it put her on the stopwatch. But we have a video of her acting like a fool anyway.
Yeah. She had something to say about this.
All right, well, good morning. I think this is the moment we've all been waiting for. If we're mourning anything this morning, it is the loss of democracy. I am your duly elected state attorney for the 9th Judicial Circuit, and nothing done by a weak dictator can change that.
You got to wait for that applause there from all three people in attendance.
3 years ago, I was elected by the people of the 9th Judicial Circuit to lead this circuit. And yes, to do things unconventionally, to do things differently. But I didn't hide. I didn't say that I would do things and I didn't do them. I didn't say I wouldn't do things and not did them. I did exactly what I said.
She sounds like Kamala Harris.
That is what you
the
want.
What the heck is she talking about?
No.
I didn't say that I wouldn't do things and then didn't do them. I didn't do them and then didn't say things and then didn't do them. I didn't do them, didn't this, and then didn't do them. She didn't know what she's talking about.
No.
Okay.
But you know what's funny, John, is the way she ended this little press conference.
Yeah, let's watch it. Let's see it.
Thank you so much for coming. Continue to look for me. I will continue to fight.
It's the Antifa fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
she was completely funded by George Soros.
Yes. And she had tons of money. Yeah. She had so much money. She was getting driven around in a black SUV, executive style, right? Being driven around from place to place in essentially what's a limo, right? Like a Yukon Denali or something like that type of thing, right? Getting driven with a chauffeur, a driver, and an entourage. Okay? Now imagine how much money does it take for you to have an entourage? She's not Ron DeSantis.
No.
She's not. She's running for state attorney. She's not Ron DeSantis. She's not gonna. I mean, that makes it was odd. It was odd. No. She came down to Poinciana like if she was Tupac. Okay? I mean, give me a break. Yeah. Give me a break. It was, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, she was getting a ton of money from somewhere. It was coming in from George Soros. We know that already.
No.
I'm glad she's gone.
Yes, absolutely. Don't let the door hit you.
Yep. So now let's talk about some good people.
Yes, absolutely.
And here's the thing. Let me mention it. I tried to hold back, but I'm not going to. That whole Antifa fist, man, I'm so glad that she's gone.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that she's gone. Literally, what are you saying to people when you hang up an Antifa fist, right, and you're the state attorney? What does that mean? Look at the connection. You're telling everybody, go on, continue committing your crimes.
Yeah.
We got your back.
Yeah.
Right, well, okay, back to dusting off that resume, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good luck, Judge Bain, right, who's her replacement.
Yeah. And I'm hearing good things about the judge, so. Let's talk about some good people. We had some new names actually show up on the supervisor of elections list of candidates.
Yep.
One of them being someone we both know, Mandy Schaefer, who's filed for the open seat 2 on the St. Cloud City Council.
Mm-hmm.
And, we all know Mandy. Mandy's heavily involved with Citizens Defending Freedom. Here's a picture of Mandy speaking at an event. Great individual, great person, great patriot. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's good. I think it's great. I mean, you're not going to find many people who are better for this position of city council member than Mandy. Mandy is even-tempered. She is morally correct. She has a moral conscience. She's going to go there and vote. She lives in the state streets, right?
Yeah.
She is a longtime resident. She has a great family. Her husband is an awesome guy. They have a great son. She's just all around phenomenal. She teaches about the Constitution.
Yes.
Right? She teaches about the Constitution of the United States of America. What else could you ask for?
Yeah.
What else could you ask for? She knows. Oh, okay, so if you're an establishment watcher of the show, which I know that you guys come back and watch the show later, I'm sorry she's not corrupt. Sorry. I'm not sorry to disappoint. If you're one of our oligarchy members, sorry, she's not corrupt. So she's a great person. She's got great character. She's very intelligent. She will be a great city councilwoman. She's awesome.
Absolutely.
There's a whole bunch of people that would be great to run for office right now. I think that there's a lot of people building. They're seeing the opportunity to get involved at a time where the establishment is losing power, losing grace, being exposed for what they really are.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the need, right? So the opportunity and the need are coming together, and this is a result of that. Somebody good like that. So something else I wanted to mention while we're talking about races.
Okay.
Christopher Bailey and Gabby Sanders Morency.
Okay.
Have you seen that race, the results? So Christopher Bailey, this is running for county judge group 2. Christopher Bailey has raised $2,145, and Gabby Sanders Morency has raised $40,720.
Wow.
Okay, so that's a huge difference. Man, she's really blowing away. 35,000 of that money was raised pretty much in the first month of her filing. And looking at this list, it was a whole bunch of, these are actual legit people writing, checks. Writing checks. So she wrote a check to herself for $30,000, but the rest of that is her own money. So she raised more than Bailey did in 1 month. She doubled what he raised in 1 month.
Wow.
And he's been running for a while. We've seen him on that list several times. So
yeah.
So that's interesting to watch. Oh, Bailey was the guy who was also endorsed by that felon, right?
Yes.
Our felon friend. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he's endorsed by the bad man of St. Cloud.
Yeah.
So.
Why would you? You're kidding. Why would you? Why would you accept the endorsement of a felon?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
I'm a judge. I want to be judge, and
Yeah, if it was you, wouldn't you just say, thank you, I appreciate your support, but keep it on the down low. Okay?
Right.
I mean, I would say that, right? I mean, you would know. Why would you? Okay, anyways, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, the colostomy bag superhero is the other name. So, okay, so let's see. Migdalia is still the only one running in Group 4. Migdalia Perez is the one defending Melendez in his situation. Kissimmee seat. Okay, so Carlos Alvarez, Ruben Anderson, and Wade Choate running in that Kissimmee City Commission seat 3, and then here's another situation. Look at Kissimmee City Commission seat 5. This is for the mayor.
Yeah.
Olga Carino has raised $9,500. Olga Castaño has raised, who's a city commissioner right now, raised $6,015. And Jackie Espinoza, our friend Jackie, who has raised $27,400 so far. So she's way up there on that. Anything else that we want to talk about here in these?
Well,
there's a new one here, but I don't see it.
Oh.
So here, oh yes, it is. There it is. There it is. So there's a new person who was filed. Now, as far as I know, there's 3 people that are filing for this school board seat. I don't know exactly how many, but okay. So, anyways, we have someone here. His name is Scott Ramsey. Okay.
No.
And Scott Ramsey, scottramsey.us, let's go to that website, is a member of the family.
Yeah.
He, from what we've seen online, I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know if he's oh, you pulled it up there.
Yeah.
So I don't, man, this is a terrible website.
That's a terrible picture.
This looks like compressed wood behind him here. Right? It looks like MDF. Okay, so anyways, Scott Ramsey, he's filed for School Board District 5. So here's what I understand. This is what I've heard. I don't know. I can't testify to the accuracy of this statement that I'm about to make. I'm just reporting back what we've heard, trying to do our initial research, that Scott has been guaranteed this school board seat. And they told him that he had to go and file, right? And that they would give him this seat. So, and here's what I'm saying. I have vested interest in this Osceola County. Everybody does. I'll fight for safe schools, less standardized testing, and a common sense curriculum. Now, here's the thing. What does Scott know about education? I have no idea. I did invite Scott today. I sent him a message, and I invited him to a cup of coffee. In fact, I'm going to send him a message on his site right now. Let's see what he says. But, so anyways, he is the cousin, from what I understand, of Ricky Booth.
Yeah.
So if he's Ricky Booth's cousin, I mean, first of all, I think it's so disturbing that this family just tries to hold on to every seat. It's really grotesque.
Yeah.
It's really grotesque. And he's part of the problem. Ricky Booth is a huge factor in all the problems of Osceola. You know?
Yeah.
He's all the problems. It's just, it's pretty bad. So, hey.
You know, Mr. Ramsey's family has been involved in ranching in Osceola County for a number of years. You know, the Osceola County Stadium over at Osceola High School, the stadium is named after his dad.
It was his dad or his uncle or his grandfather? Who,
yeah, it was somebody in his family.
Yeah,
somebody. It's like you said, John. We don't need another Booth, essentially.
We do not need another Booth,
and this is what we'd get with Scott Ramsey on the school board.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of, so here's the thing. This is when I was mentioning earlier that I have trouble not liking this guy, right? He looks like he's a rancher.
Yeah.
Right? He's very Americana. Don't get me wrong. I love that. So it's hard for me. And I also love the ranching industry. My family's also in ranching. So I love the industry. I love agriculture. I love the sentiment. I love the type of people that I wish that these people were, that they are. I hope that they would be. But it goes beyond that. This is not just about the American flag. It's not just about our community. It's also about this family controlling, and that's anti-American.
Yeah.
So you can't wave the American flag and then be a proponent of corruption or autocracy or this oligarchy, this sense of dictatorship and aristocracy. That's un-American. No. So anyway, that's my issue. So we'll see. We're gonna have a couple.
You get a phone call that, oh, we need you to run.
Hey, we need you to run.
This is what happens. We need you to run.
We need you to run. So we'll see. We'll see what he raises. We'll see what he does. I'm sure that he's going to get money and all kinds of stuff because he's the anointed candidate from Ricky Bobby. So we'll see. We'll see. So, man, it's been quick, right? We got through this one quick, man.
Yeah.
We were prepared and ready to go early. It's been 1 hour and 30 minutes exactly to this point. Now 4 seconds. So I think that's it.
Yeah,
right?
that is it. That is it.
So listen, we appreciate you being on the show. It is super important that you share. Please share, because we are absolutely shadow banned. It's happened. Like, we'll share to 100 different areas, groups, and stuff like that, but the Facebook won't let us do it. Every time that we go through the process of starting the show, they actually restrict my account. So it's reduced our numbers, but hey, we're still a local pair and we do the business. And so we're hoping that you support us, and the way that you can support us is by liking and sharing wherever you're watching. So please do. Also, let us know, participate. We got some of your comments. We haven't been watching the comments because we've been trying to do it a little bit different behind the scenes. So we're not seeing what you guys are doing, but you can always text us. People are during the show. Let us know. If you're outside of Osceola County, you want us to comment or research or address a race that's going on in your county or city or whatever, let us know. We'd be happy to do that. We'd be happy to take calls. We're going to talk more about all kinds of stuff. We're going to see how the county develops as we get closer to the election. More and more stuff pops up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that's all we got. So on behalf of School Board Member John Arguello and Citizen Tom Lord, thank you for watching. Please like and share. Go and find me on Twitter, please. It's at Jon Unsanctioned, Jon Unsanctioned, Jon Unsanctioned, on all social media, and like and share the show, please, down here. Also, if you'd like to have a commercial on the show like we had for our friend Shane, please let us know. We'd be happy to do that for you.
Absolutely.
So thank you. God bless you. Have a great night. Thank you for staying with us for the show. We'll see you next week.